All right. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to Unity of Phoenix. Welcome to our Sunday Soul Celebration. I'm Richard Maraj, Senior Minister here, and it's a joy and a blessing to be with you all. Just want to say welcome on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Great to see you. Right now, we want to extend a very special welcome to anyone joining us for the first time. Thank you.
Absolutely. So now's that time in our service, a time of prayer and meditation. Just allow now the words of that meditational song to take you into an inner space where you shut out all the external distractions. Take a few moments to slow your mind down. Set aside all of the busyness of the holidays. And to use a scriptural metaphor, just come apart for a while. This gift of life that we've been blessed with is always an interesting journey. And sometimes we're so busy, caught up in it, that we forget our spiritual work. Which essentially is learning to be quiet and to be still. Learning to withdraw from the external world and enter into that secret space that the Master Teacher spoke of. He called it the closet. That place where there's no space for no one but you. We can create that space right here and right now. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Just sit back in your seat and imagine a cocoon that is all around you, sheltering you and embracing you with love and light, wisdom and spiritual power. Attributes that feed your soul. There is but one presence and one power in the universe, and that is God. For that reality, may we be ever so grateful. Amen.
Morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. So how many people here love to shop and buy stuff? Anybody like to buy stuff? And how many people have ever bought something you didn't need, but you got it because it was on sale? It was a good bargain. And how many people ever go to Costco and spend way more money than you anticipated you would originally? We love to shop. We love to buy stuff, and there is so much stuff to buy, as evidenced by all those Black Friday sales. They were selling everything from computers to comforters, from laptops to high tops, from smartphones to fancy colognes, from Suns tickets to Victoria's Secrets. Woo! Just showing the range, just showing the range. From electronics to colonics, I'm telling you, it was everything. Everything. There's so much stuff out there to buy. You know, Black Friday has been historically the largest selling day of the year. And we love stuff so much, we will sleep out at night in front of the stores, get up early, wait for hours in line, push people away if we need to buy the stuff. I find it amazing. The day before, we were giving thanks for all the people and all the stuff we have. The next day, we're pushing them out of the way to buy more stuff. And to the tune of $50 to $60 million we spent in this time. There's a lot of stuff to buy, and there's a lot of stuff that we buy. You know, Good Friday kicks off the Christmas season. You know, and Christmas is a wonderful time of the year, but we have to admit that sometimes Christmas has got a lot of overspending, overeating, and overdoing it, trying to cram so much life and stuff in a short space of time to the point that it can be a little overwhelming. It can be exhausting. It can be depleting, and even having us feel a little bit empty and disappointed at the end of it. Everyone's heard the delightful "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" story. Well, I want to share with you "'Twas the Day After Christmas," and tell me if any of this rings true. 'Twas the day after Christmas, and all through the house, every creature was exhausted, even the mouse. The toys were all broken, their batteries dead. Santa passed out with some ice on his head. Wrapping and ribbons just covered the floor, while upstairs the family continued to snore. And I, in my t-shirt, new Nikes and jeans, went into the kitchen and started to clean. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the sink to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew in a flash, tore open the windows and threw up the sash. When what to my wandering eye should appear but a white little truck with an oversized mirror. The driver was smiling so lively and grand, the patch on his jacket said U.S. Postman. With a handful of bills, he grinned like a fox. Then quickly he stuffed them in our mailbox. Bill after bill after bill, they still came, whistling and shouting. He called out their names. Now Dillard's, now Nordstrom's, now Penny's and Sears. Here's Macy's and Target's and Mervyn's, all here. To the top of your spending limit, every store, every mall. Now charge away, charge away, charge away all. He whooped and he whistled as he finished his work. He filled up the box and then he turned with a jerk. He sprang to his truck and drove down the road, driving much faster with just half a load. Then I heard him exclaim with great holiday cheer, "Enjoy what you've got. You'll be paying all year." So, I think we can relate to the overspending. We can relate to the overdoing it. You know, as we begin this Christmas season and with all these sales about us, I think there is an important question for us to ask ourselves as all this stuff is available, and that is, what are you buying? It sounds like a simple question, but it's an important question. What are you buying? Because I believe what we are buying in life shapes our lives. It tells us what we like and don't like. It tells us what's valuable and important and meaningful to us. What we buy is a reflection of what we are and what we want to create, and who we want to become. So what are you buying? We buy our lives by the way that we spend. We buy our lives by how we spend our time. So how are you spending your time? What are you buying with your time? Benjamin Franklin once said, "Do not squander your time, for time is the stuff that life is made of." Are you spending your time on the things that are most important to you? Or are you spending some time on things that are not as important or not as valuable? How would you like to change or improve how you are spending and utilizing your time? A friend of mine once said, on the day where you were born, you were given the opportunity of a lifetime. So what are you doing with your lifetime? What are you doing with your time? You ever say something was really important to you, but you always found yourself saying, yeah, but one day I'll get around to it? Ever say something's important to you, but you keep procrastinating and not taking the time for it? Time is a very precious gift. We can do lots with our time. We can spend our time. We can save our time. We can waste time. We can pass time. We can kill time. We can even do time. But eventually, you know what the truth is? We will all run out of time. Life is precious. There's a song by Bonnie Raitt called "Love in the Nick of Time." My favorite line is, "Life becomes more precious when there's less of it to waste." So what are ways you're spending your time you know that you could probably do in a more effective way that'll bring you more joy and share your love? Is it with your family? Maybe it's taking care of yourself and exercising. Maybe it's spending more time in the silence and nurturing your spirit and your soul. What would you like to do differently about how you are spending and investing your time? What kind of life are you buying with your time? And what changes would you make to buy a better life that you would like to have with your time? So think of one thing you'd like to do to spend more time on, and one thing you'd like to do to spend a little time less that will make your life more joyful and fulfilling and more in alignment with who you are and the life you came to live. Second way we buy our lives is we buy with our money. So what do you buy with your money? Are the things you're buying with your money really supporting the kind of life you want to live or the kind of person you want to be? Interesting thing about money, sometimes it's good to notice the patterns. I notice with me that sometimes I just buy the same stuff. I go to the grocery, I go down the same specific aisles, I get the same specific stuff. There's all kinds of stuff I could buy. I only buy the same things all the time. Go to the same restaurant, order the same meal. It's amazing. Anybody ever do stuff like that? It's like there's so much available, yet we buy a limited amount of things. Or is there something you really want that you haven't allowed yourself to buy and treat yourself to? How we are spending our money is how we are spending our lives. What we're buying with our money is what we're buying with our lives. So what would you like to buy a little differently? How would you like to spend a little differently? Because there are different experiences that we aren't allowing ourselves to live. Sometimes I have to force myself to get something different than the usual things I get. Bought some pickled okra, gefilte fish. I just buy stuff just to try it and to see if I like it. And sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do. But you know what? I'm glad that I at least stepped out of my box. I'm glad that I at least tried something new because it taught me and I felt a little more alive afterwards. Does that make sense? So what are you buying with your money? What kind of life are you buying? And what are you willing to open up to buy, to give, to share with your money, to create new experiences and more full experiences with your life? When you think about it, buying is an exchange, isn't it? You give time to experience something. You give money to experience something. Well, I'll tell you, the most important thing we buy is right here. What beliefs are you buying? What thoughts are you buying? What attitudes are you buying? What ideas are you buying? What mindset are you buying? Because the truth is, while there are a lot of things we could buy in here, sometimes we buy some unhealthy things. Sometimes we buy the belief that this world is a dangerous and unfriendly place, that you can't trust people. The life is hard and life is unfair. We buy ideas like I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy of great success or happiness or lots of prosperity. Sometimes we believe the idea that things only go from bad to worse. We believe these things, that there just isn't enough time or money or happiness or success. We buy pessimism. We buy a negative attitude as easily as we can buy hope, and we can buy faith, and we can buy confidence and a belief in possibilities and that life will get better and better and better. We can buy all these beliefs. The question is, what are you buying into with your thoughts, with your attitude, with your mind? So let's explore this one a little bit more, deeper. Let's go to Matthew 13 and talk about two fabulous parables. They're back to back. Let me read them to you. It says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then he goes in his joy and sells it, and he buys the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls, and on finding one, he went and sold all he had and bought it." Three elements here about buying better ideas, buying better thoughts, buying a better mindset and attitude. The very first one is, in both cases, whether it was buying a field with hidden treasure or buying the pearl of great price, each of them knew how to recognize value. They could discern that some choices are better, some things have more value than others. Discernment is a very, very important thing. That there are wiser choices we can make and not as wise choices. There are better decisions, better options, better connections, better opportunities than others in our lives. And I consider better, the definition is moving us towards a greater level of happiness, moving us towards a greater experience of who we came here to be, moving us towards greater love. And to discern, that is valuable for me. Anybody ever make a bad choice? Anybody ever? Ever get into a relationship and you knew it wasn't a smart thing to do, but you jumped in anyway? Or ever made an investment that just wasn't like the smartest thing in the world, and you thought to yourself, what was I thinking? I categorize all those mistakes in what I call, it seemed like a good idea at the time. I think we all have those. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. However, what I believe is that one of the great spiritual qualities you have is the quality of discernment. I believe that there's an inner wisdom, that the soul knows that there is a divine intelligence in each of us, that if we seek it and turn to it, we will be able to recognize things of value, the treasure, the wonderful pearls, that we will be able to look at a situation and say, that's a right fit for me. That is the best thing I could do. That is a relationship that would be good to have. But there is intelligence, but we have to turn into it and we have to trust to it. We have to trust it. There's hidden treasure in us and we have to tune into it, to listen to it, to be able to discern what are the things of great value and important to us. Because the fact is there are better ideas and better beliefs, and there are lesser ideas and lesser beliefs. I'm not worthy compared to I am a valuable and worthy individual. I can't do anything to everything is possible. To my life is hopeless to each and every day. And each and every way, my life is getting better and better and better. Let's just say it for fun. Each and every day, in each and every way, my life is getting better and better and better. So what are you buying into? For the kind of person you are, for the kind of life that you have, for what's possible for yourself? Do you believe that your life can get better? Do you believe that no matter how many mistakes you've made in the past, you can still make a better choice? No matter how things have gone wrong, that you can build on something and create an even greater life than you've ever had before? Do you believe in these ideas, and are you willing to buy greater possibilities? Are you willing to buy that you are a unique and amazing expression of God? That you are a creator? That you have the power to build and create your life. Are you willing to even buy that this year at Christmas, you can have a slow and meaningful and rich experience and not be overwhelmed, overspent, overeaten, and overdone? What are you willing to buy? What are you willing to believe? One of the things I believe is that there's all kinds of ideas we can buy. We're not supposed to buy all of them. We're just supposed to buy the ones that are ours, that's best for our soul. We're not supposed to meet everyone, but there are certain individuals that we are meant to meet. And the question is, are you willing to recognize that value, trust it, and see the pearls of the individuals, of the decisions, of the relationships, and trust it and allow yourself to move forward? Not procrastinating, not running away in fear, but trusting it and living from that place. Discernment, it's a powerful thing. And it's right in here, that wisdom. Second thing it tells you is that after the person recognizes it, you know what they do? It says he joyously goes and sells what he's got to buy it. Both of them, they sold to buy. And what that really means is that there are things in life we need to let go. Old ideas, we got to let go. Old dreams that aren't working, you got to let go. Things you got to release, things you got to free yourself from. Sometimes, you remember that story about the rich man? He wanted to have eternal life, and Jesus said, follow the commandments. He says, yeah, I got that down, got all the commandments. And Jesus says, one thing you need to do, and that is to go sell everything you got and give it and follow me. And this isn't saying, the parable is not saying that it's wrong to have stuff. He's saying is don't be owned by it. Don't be possessed by your possessions. Don't let it distract you from a deeper experience of spirit and a fuller experience of life. Sometimes our stuff owns us. And what are the things we need to let go? And it isn't just stuff. Sometimes we need to let go of that old story we've been telling about how our dysfunctional family did it to us, our ex did it to us. We got to sell and let go of the drama, of the shame, of the fear, of the regret, of the unworthiness. There are things that we need to sell and let go. And you know what the most interesting is? You got to let go first. We would ideally like to keep our foot on first base and magically get to second base without letting go of first base. Like a trapeze artist. Could you imagine a trapeze artist trying to get the second bar and not letting go of the first? And that's the deal, because that's where faith comes in. Can you believe that God loves you enough? Can you believe that there's enough abundance in this universe? Can you believe that there's a plan for your life that you can let go of what you've been holding on to and trust that you'll open a space for something even greater, of greater value, of greater blessing, of greater benefit in your life? So what are you holding on to that it's time to let go? What belief? What attitude? What idea? And are you willing to trust that there's enough in the universe and God loves you and there's a plan for you that you can let it go and open a space for that pearl of great price, for that great treasure that is waiting for you? Discernment, letting go. And then it says, he sold and he bought it. Meaning he owned it. He owned the field. He owned the pearl. And it's a powerful thing to say that I own this. The field that they're talking about is the field of the mind. And sometimes we don't own our own mind. Anybody ever mind just run wild and crazy with the most insane thoughts? Apparently me and two other people. Okay, that's okay. But sometimes our minds run with negativity, and that shows that we don't always own it. And you know how you own your own mind? You accept full responsibility for your life. Full responsibility for your thoughts. There's no more blaming anyone else, because that's giving our power away. To own your field means to accept responsibility for your life. To accept responsibility for all the decisions, to accept responsibility for right where you are and everything the way it is. You know why it's important to accept responsibility? Because when you do, you also accept the power to make it different, make it better. When we blame someone else, we think they've got the power. When we accept responsibility, it makes us realize, I've got the power to make my life better, to change it, to improve it. And one thing I've come to realize is that when you own the field of your mind, you accept responsibility, but then you begin to build the consciousness on that field to grow the consciousness of whatever it is you want to become. We sometimes always think, I want to get rich. I want to win the lottery. But you know, it's not that. If you want to get rich, build the consciousness of prosperity and the abundance will come to you. I want to go find the person of my dreams. Build a consciousness of someone worthy of a fulfilling relationship and they will come to you. You want to be successful? Build a consciousness. You want to be a great leader? Build a consciousness. And ask yourself, whatever you want to become with your life, what is the consciousness of the person who lives that kind of life? What do they think? How do they speak? What's their attitude? What's their mindset? How do they show up in life and begin to show up and embody those qualities? That's what it means to own the field. It's be responsible, but build the consciousness. Joel Goldsmith once said, you can have anything in life, but first you must become it in consciousness. Because life is not about conditions, it's about consciousness. You can take someone with a poverty consciousness and give them $1 million, and it will not last. You take someone with a prosperity consciousness and put them in difficult situations, I guarantee you they will rise. Because life is not about conditions, it's consciousness. It lives from the inside out. This making sense, everybody? You're being so quiet, I couldn't tell. Okay. Here are some of my favorite people. Jim Carrey, Oprah Winfrey, Walt Disney, Nelson Mandela, Stevie Wonder, and Madame Curie. Every one of them had conditions that weren't ideal, but they had the consciousness before the success. Jim Carrey, down and out, what'd he do? He went and imagined his name on a marquee and wrote himself a check for $10 million. He held the consciousness before the condition was there. Oprah Winfrey, raped and had not the easiest childhood, was told she should get out of the news business. She wasn't going to be successful. But I'll tell you, the consciousness came before the condition of the success. Walt Disney was told he wasn't creative, went bankrupt a number of times. The vision and the consciousness of the incredible Disneyland and Disney World that he created. Nelson Mandela was in prison 26 years, built a consciousness in prison. That when he came out, within 4 years, he was the president of his country. Stevie Wonder, blind, and could see with his inner eye. Beautiful album called Inner Visions. And he saw and had the consciousness of great success. Madame Curie, in 1903, became the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in Physics. 1903. In 1911, she became the first woman to win a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry. At a time when women were not in science, this woman had the consciousness of greatness and success. It's in every one of us. We can say, poor me, and have all kinds of excuses. We could buy into those stories, or we can build a new story and buy into it. That I am here to do great things. That there are gifts and talents I'm here to bring with the world. That my life is here to make an amazing difference, and everything I need is already within me. The question is, what are you buying? This Christmas, as we see more sales, as we see more things that we can purchase, I invite you to remember, you don't have to buy into overspending, overeating, and overdoing. You can buy in to balance and joy and ease this holiday season that will renew you. Remember that things are always available, but what we buy with our lives is we buy it with our time, we buy it with our money, and mostly we buy it in our mind. Everything is out there. It's available. The question is, what do you want to buy? God bless you all.